I was dying for the time off. I was burning out. I was a single mom at the time. It felt like everything would just stop because I wasn't there. Leave us alone so we can do our work. Well, so-and-so called and oh my gosh, and this person and oh my goodness, and this, this doctor is mad. And if you don't do well, we won't do well. And that's coming from a team member. If you can't even take a week out of your practice, then something is wrong.
Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. It is Brandy Mabra, and today we are preparing you to be out of the office. So I am based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the weather here is sunshine, beautiful blue sky, the temperature's increasing. And so wherever you're listening to this podcast, then probably something similar is happening for you. So we're getting ready to go into spring. Summer is right around the corner. And so I am sure between spring breaks, summer breaks, then you are going to want to be out of the office. So today's episode is dedicated to that. So that way you can take the time that you need, the time that you deserve, the time that you need to build your practice for is definitely times like this. So let's go ahead and dive in. So it's beautiful weather. We're getting ready to take time off. And so are you prepared to take your break? AKA, is your practice able to run without you? When you're out of the office, it gives you opportunities to see what fires are going to come up inside of your practice. And so it's a really great fire drill. I am of the stance, if you can't even take a week out of your practice, then something is wrong. We have clients who are able to take 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Some of them are preparing for really long maternity leaves. And I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. So with the weather breaking, with spring breaks around the corner and summer breaks coming up, then let's talk about what is working inside your practice and not working inside your practice. So what does a practice that can run without you, what does it look like and what does it feel like? I remember one of the first times, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about it again, where there was a period of 2 years I did not take a vacation. And there is a picture of me ziplining in Jamaica. I talk about this picture. If you come to any one of my workshops, then you'll see this picture. And I think it's just a monumental moment. And why I always go back to this story is because my team was ready for me to be out of the office. They could not wait for me to get out of the office. And I needed to break to be out of the office. But also I needed to prepare my team to be out of the office. And so when we think about the reason why I did not take a vacation for 2 years, it wasn't because I didn't want the time off. I was dying for the time off. I was burning out. My son, I was a single mom at the time. I remember specifically that there were periods of time where I would maybe try to step away for a day, maybe 2 days, and then I would come back and it felt like everything would just stop because I wasn't there. And that was frustrating, right? And so I would come back and I hear this when clients start to take more time off. And I'm always asking, how many emails did you come back to? What happened while you were away? What were some of the circumstances that came up? What were some of the questions that came up? Because I remember coming back to my desk, I would come back, there would be a pile of papers on my desk, in my in basket. There would be a queue of emails that would be sitting there waiting for me to answer. I had an office phone on my desk. The little light would be blinking red because I would have all these messages that I had to answer. And then there would be a line of people. Like I would walk into the door and I felt like a celebrity in not a good way because everybody was like, oh my gosh, she's back. She is back. There's our person. And it was because I did not set my practice up for me to be away. Right? I set my practice up for people pleasing. And I've talked numerous times about people pleasing. And I think that it's important because when we're in healthcare, I'll keep on saying this, when we're in healthcare, we are people pleasers almost to a fault, right? I don't think people pick healthcare if they are not people pleasers to some type of, maybe that's a huge assumption. But when you want to help people, when you want to be there for people, when you have compassion, when you're there to make sure that people are well, there's a people-pleasing tendency that comes with that. Maybe not. Maybe there is, maybe there is not. However, it's a strong trait, and I think it's something, too, that makes us great. I think it makes us great when it comes to leaders. I think it makes us great when it comes to helping people. I think it makes it great for relationship builders, like all the things that make us great as healthcare workers. But the downfall to that is it also makes you tired, and it makes you not want to take time off, and it makes you come from a place of people pleasing, right? I want to make sure you're good before I'm good. The other part of this is when we think about leadership styles, my natural leadership style is a servant leadership style. So I want to be of service of anybody that I'm working with. I want to make sure that you're good. If you're good, I'm good. If we're in it together, right? And I think what happens when we're trying to take time off is the servant leadership style goes bad, right? And so if you do the background on servant leadership, it actually comes from biblical principles. However, it doesn't mean that we have to just pour ourselves into others and we can't take time off. So when I think about you getting ready to take weeks off, take days off, take months off, whatever that is for you, set your practice up starting today. So it took me 2 years to set my practice up for me to be comfortable to take the time off. Also, I don't think it needed to take 2 years for me to set my practice up for it to run without me. I think there was some fear that I had just trying to take the time off. So another picture that comes to mind is like the roller coaster. And so there's 2 types of people. There's 2 types of leaders, I'll say. There is the leader, which I was, the white knuckling it, as you're going down the hill with the roller coaster. And then there's the person who is just like, wee, just able to let go and have so much fun. And they don't, it's just a different type of vibe. Part of the work that we do is we're taking the white knuckle, leader that's like, oh my gosh, holding on for dear life as they're going down this hill and turning them into wee, where the hands are coming up and you're able to let go. But what allows for you to be the wee, person, and for those of you who are listening, my hands literally are up if you're not able to watch. But like the person who is able to put their hands up, it's because their systems are in place. The team understands the assignment. Protocols are protocoling. Guidelines are there, and the team is ready, right? They cannot wait for you to go away so that way they can show you how great they are and how capable they are and that you can trust them, right? So the best team is the team that will tell you, we got it. Like, leave us alone so we can do our work. Like you're pestering us, you're annoying us. And so again, servant leadership in all of its forms is actually you're doing them a service and being in that servant leadership when you actually step away and allow for them to show you their greatness. And I don't think that when you're trying to, I don't want to take time off, and I hear this, I don't want to take time off because I feel bad. I feel bad that they're working and I'm not, right? I feel bad if I'm off and having the time of my life and I'm enjoying my family and my friends and vacationing, or I'm doing a self-care day, or I'm not physically present, my team is going to be mad at me because they think I'm going to be, the word, lazy, or that I don't work hard, or that I don't care, or I'm not struggling with them, as they're trying to do this work. At the end of the day, what I've come to find out the hard way, and then also what my clients, ended up finding out, especially working together, is that your team wants you to be well. They want you to do what you need to do, because if you don't, then they won't have a paycheck, right? And so there was a very lovely conversation that I was privy to between a client and her leader. And the leader said point blank, we need you to be well so we can do well. If you don't do well, we won't do well. And that's coming from a team member. I have the same story. My team was so happy when I finally went to Jamaica. And when I got back, compared to the 2 days that I took off, there was not a pile of papers on my desk. My email was manageable. The little red light was still on, but it was like 2 messages instead of the 50 messages that I came back, right? And it felt so good because I could actually come in. Also, they weren't waiting for me. They were excited to see me, but they weren't like bum rushing me because of all the questions that they had that I wasn't there to answer. They were excited to see me. Hey, how was your vacation? That was my question that I got. How was your vacation? Did you have a good time? Let me see pictures. It wasn't that, well, so-and-so called and oh my gosh, and this person and oh my goodness, and this, this doctor is mad and this patient and I put it on your desk and like all the things that can happen. That was not my story. So I want that for you. So at the end of the day, you need to be able to take time off. So I'm going to give you, and this is actually from Private Practice CEO, and it's like a whole tool. There's so many tools inside of Private Practice CEO. Let me tell you, there are tools on top of tools. So ChatGPT ain't got nothing on me. So like for steps to take. So if you are wanting to be out of the office, step 1, establish how long you will be out of office. So you deserve to be out of office. So I'm giving you permission. If there's a family vacation, if your partner is like, hey babe, we really need to get away, or if your kids are, asking, when are you going to come play with me, or whatever happens, I'm just thinking about my experience, then establish how long do you want to be away? And I'm going to challenge you on this. So if you were saying like, man, I would love to be out for 2 weeks, great. What needs to happen for you to be out of office for 2 weeks? And even if you're only able to do like version 1.0 of 1 week, then you're still moving towards that 2 week. If you want to be out of the office for 1 month, what needs to happen for you to be out of the office for 1 month? And even if you're only able to do, again, 1 week, 2 weeks, then you're still moving towards being out of office for 1 month. So 1, establish how long you want to be out of office. Step 2, take inventory of your chosen days. So what's happening? So if you step into, like, where are we at? We're in the end of getting ready to go into Q2. So if you step into June, what is happening in June? Like, what's happening for the month? What's happening for the particular time that you want to be off? So that way you can reschedule it, you can rearrange it, you can move it up, you can move it back. You can notify people. A lot of times people don't take time off because they're not proactively looking at their calendar. Even right now, you should be getting a very good lay of the land of what are you walking into for Q2? What are you walking into for the next month? Do you know? Do you know what holidays are coming up? Do you know what you might have on your calendar that could distract? So take inventory of your days. Step 3, plan with the team. A lot of times you know that you want to be off and you're maybe trying to do stuff for yourself, but you need to plan with your team. Like if you sit down with your team and say, hey, I would love to be out of office this week in July, or I would love to be out of office for the whole month of July. Plan around with your team and a couple of things will happen. It'll elevate their thinking because now you're making them think like a CEO because their CEO is going to be out of office. It'll also allow for you to see where they're at. So if you are trying to make sure that they have everything that they need, the number one thing that you can do is to take yourself out of the equation and see what comes up, right? So plan with your team. Number 4, review everything the day before you leave. So if you were going to be off July 4th, then July 2nd, July 3rd, or maybe even July 1st, then you are going to review what needs to be done, right? So you do one last check-in, making sure that everybody is good. You go around, do your rounds, remind them that, I'm going to be off. Is there anything that you need? Like, I'm not taking any phone calls, guys. I'm not going to be checking my email. Like, what's going on? So you allow for them to realize, like, dang, okay. So that way you can address anything that might be coming up. Step 5 is to pre-schedule your debrief. So a lot of times when people come back into the office, they're just trying to get through whatever's on their plate. So let me go ahead and start answering emails. Let me go ahead and return any messages. Let me go ahead and address the pile that might be on my desk. Like all of those things, that's not where you start. You actually schedule a debrief so you can sit down with your team and figure out what went well and what did not go well. What questions did you get? So if you ended up being on vacation and maybe you got some emails, maybe you got some phone calls, maybe you got some type of situation that only you could handle, you're debriefing all of those things. You're also looking at what did the team hold on to that they felt that they needed you for? So what questions did they need you for? What situations did they feel like they needed you for, right? So when you do that, then you're preparing for the next time that you're going to be out of office. And also you're looking at a place of, do we need to update a policy and procedure? Is there an SOP that maybe needs to be refined? Is there additional training that needs to happen that maybe got missed because you're the one who's been doing it? So it's really proactive when you actually do a debrief from what happened when you were out. But you need to pre-schedule it, because when you get back, if you do not schedule it, I promise you it'll get missed. You might even have it like, I need to talk to my team. But because it's not on your calendar, it will not happen. Step 6, enjoy your time off. Like, literally enjoy the time. I know from experience, I know from working with all the clients that I work with, that it can be where the business is always going to be in the background, right? And you're going to wonder, how's my team doing? I wonder how they're doing. Be prepared for it. Like, be prepared for the fact that you are going to wonder about one of the biggest relationships that you have with your business, right? And so be prepared for those thoughts. Also be prepared for the fact that if anything is happening, especially if you have an escalation policy, know that you can be on a boat. Think about that. Take a minute for a second and think about a boat. Being on a yacht. Anyway, so but you can be prepared for a boat and know that if something happens and something goes down, that someone's going to call you, right? So I was in beautiful Thailand and Singapore, and escalation. So between me and my assistant, we had an escalation policy. So if there was something that she just needed me for, then there were certain situations where she would need to contact me. If I did not hear from her, then I knew everything was good. So at the end of the day, making sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And those are the 6 things that you can do in order to be out of the office. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to definitely challenge you to make sure that you are taking the time that you need, pouring back into yourself, and setting yourself up for success. So if you are in the place where you're like, Brandy, all this sounds great and wonderful and fantastic, but I am the leader that is on the roller coaster, that is holding on for dear life as we're going down the hill, and you definitely want to be the leader that is like, wee, with your hands up in the air, then you need to be in Private Practice CEO. You can see the show notes with the link to apply, and I hope to see you there. All right. Well, until next time, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.